ده فجأة. دول 150 جنيه باقيين من 600 جنيه علشان انشليت في رجلي ورجلي اللي جابني ورحت السوق اشتري فرخه اكلها انا وعيالي علشان اتعشى فراخ. العشوه وقفت عليا ب 450 جنيه. لا انا دخلي كام 450 جنيه.
This message from the Anonymous is addressed to the peoples of the world, to the American Congress, to the Emirates, to the European Union. Number 1, Egypt is now considered one of the weakest countries in the world. The Egyptian army is no longer the army that everyone saw in previous years. Rather, the Egyptian army is selling meat and chicken in the streets, and also they are not trained and do not have enough strength. This is of course with the plans of the dictator Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. He who knows so. But that is not important, because there are more important than that, the number of the 2 Egyptian people who do not find work. There are jobs, but they are simple, few, and not enough. People are just to live. One person alone, so which job is not enough? Because the prices are very expensive, because it is the Egyptian dictator Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. He steals and plunders Egyptian money. Also, the money that he requests from the International Monetary Fund to be spent on Egypt. Rather, he tracks it on foreign accounts that he owns. This is with confirmed information. 3. There is no food in Egypt. Number 4, people's homes are secretly eaten by the government. Number 5, someone can speak because the one who speaks. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi or the Egyptian dictator is a lie. There is no terrorism in Egypt. Also, there are no things in Egypt. Projects that benefit the Egyptian people, with this money, are also funded. The Egyptian people do not want this president, but he is afraid to speak because the one who speaks is killed. There is no food, there is no education, but rather it is a failed education. There is nothing meaningful. The real death is Egypt at the present time. If you want to feel the meaning of non-life, it is Egypt, the meaning of non-life. Also, it is forbidden to travel because people do not have money, and also the Egyptian government does not allow them to be zero. Also, there is no money in Egypt so that someone can travel. The highest jobs in Egypt are not enough food for a week. In addition to all that, the Egyptian people, they don't want this dictator Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, but they can't speak because the person who speaks gets killed. Also, which is even more important, the Egyptian dictator Abdel Fattah el-Sisi steals the money of other countries, commits fraud, and participates in many dirty operations, such as assassinations. He spoke to some important personalities who come to Egypt. There is evidence for all of this. All of this is addressed to the US Congress. And to the European Union. The Egyptian people want help, but they cannot speak. There are a number of people who speak, but after they speak, they are not known. What is their fate? It is death. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. From the nomination against him in the elections, because he does not allow to give judgment to another person. He requests loans from other countries and goes to conferences specifically to foreign countries and commits fraud in all his words. The Egyptian people did not get food, they did not get an education, they did not get anything useful. He is a fraudulent and lying president. Check the real food prices in Egypt, check the dollar prices compared to the Egyptian currency, and Egypt depends on the dollar, and there is no fake in Egypt that gives money in the form al-Kabir. There are no jobs in Egypt at the present time. There is no food because people cannot buy food. And that this statement applies to all Egyptian people. But it does not apply to the government of Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, which arrests people in their homes, and it does not apply to private companies be Abdel Fattah el-Sisi spy companies that spy on the internet. Spying on people via satellites and the techniques that he uses that are criminal and forbidden to be used. Also, in addition to that, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi steals all Egypt's money and the money he requests from the International Monetary Fund, which is it was spent on Egypt, and it even goes to external accounts. Also, Some important points: this president is spying on the Egyptian people, who only thinks to speak against him. He is arrested, imprisoned, and his life is destroyed, but in fact in fact, the lives of the Egyptian people are destructive in the sense of the word. Number 1. There is no work in the whole of Egypt, and the existing jobs are jobs that do not belong to humans, but rather are suitable for dogs or pigs, and also do not give enough money for a period of 1 week. Only enough food is not given or any money sufficient because the prices of products in Egypt are more expensive than all countries around the world. There are no such imaginary prices that exist in Egypt in any country in the world. But of course there is the false media that issues an image to other countries. It gives a false impression about the reality of Egypt. The reality of Egypt is that the entire Egyptian people has become devastated. The number of people who died in illegal immigration this year is 2 million. Why? Do you know why people want to flee? Because people are dying in Egypt out of nowhere? People are dying in Egypt because they can't find food, they can't find houses. Houses are being robbed from the Egyptian government, which they object to being set on fire. There are no jobs, and there is no education. But there is the corrupt and false media that is subject to the rule of the dictator Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. All the Egyptian people do not want this dictator, but no one can speak. Those who try to speak are being assassinated. The real death has become Egypt. People sleep in the streets and eat from waste. People die in hospitals from neglect because there is no equipment. There is nothing in Egypt, but there is the corrupt and false media that implements the orders of the Egyptian dictator Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, which owns more than 10 accounts in different foreign countries, which are sending the money that he makes in the name of Egypt. In short, that is the message of the Egyptian people. Plain are those words that the Egyptian people want to tell everyone. But they can't. Do you know why no one dares to speak? There are no rights to demonstrate in the streets. If there is a government of another country, watch, you will find all the Egyptian people go to demonstrate, but under the rule of the Egyptian dictator Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, no one can, because when someone thinks to demonstrate against the false Egyptian rule, because that does not rule by the voice of the people, but rather rules with dictatorship and well-being. The people do not want him, but the one who thinks to demonstrate against him, he and his family are assassinated, and this was repeated so often that the Egyptian people became afraid and fearful of speaking and did not. He can do something. Only they die every day. Every day the Egyptian people die, but there is no good life in Egypt. The Egyptian people have no food, the Egyptian people cannot buy food, because there is no money, because there is no work, because there is no education, because there are no hospitals equipped with equipment. There is nothing. There is only the presidential palaces that are being built to the Gerbil Abdel Fattah. And of course, the Egyptian dog Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the military bug in a backward person who is not fit to rule, as he is just a thief and a hungry person. He steals Egypt's money. Congress must intervene in that. The Egyptian people want to request it, and we decided to publish it at the request of many citizens of Egypt. We are an international organization for the defense of human rights and the defense of freedom and justice, and everyone knows about that, and everyone knows them as the unknown organization. We cannot bring down the Egyptian dictator Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. We warn the Egyptian dictator Abdel Fattah el-Sisi that during the coming period there will be the most violent electronic attacks. The Egyptian people die every day as they go to the Americans and go to the European Union and do lies, fraud. He is a lying president. You can check the Egyptian people, but not under the supervision of the government. Indeed, you should do something for the sake of Egypt. Also, the people of Egypt, do not be afraid. Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is just a dog. A dog. And nothing else is just a dog. Also, do you think that the Egyptian people only have these 1 million things that they suffer from? There are 1 million things that we need at least 300,000 years to talk about. Since the Egyptian dog Abdel Fattah el-Sisi came to power in Egypt, they have been destroyed. I once again address this message to the peoples of the world and to Congress America and the European Union. Also, in addition to that, the Egyptian army's transgressions on the lands of Egyptian citizens across the country. These are facts and there are proofs of them from the Egyptian people. We are anonymous. We are legion. We are everywhere. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
كده تاكل ده بقى. دول 150 جنيه باقيين من 600 جنيه علشان انشليت في رجلي ورجلي اللي جابني ورحت السوق اشتري فرخه اكلها انا وعيالي. علشان اتعشى فراخ العشوه وقفت عليا ب 450 جنيه. لا انا دخلي كام 450 جنيه في اليوم علشان اما اتعشى فراخ بس اصرف 450 جنيه. ما تستغربش انا اشتريت فرخه 3 كيلو ونص، احنا اسره 6 افراد. اشتريت فرخه 3 كيلو ونص، اشتريت 2 كيلو طماطم، 2 كيلو بطاطس، 2 كيلو رز، 2 كيلو بصل، ازازه زيت، وجبت 3 كيلو علب وبطيخه. صرفت 450 جنيه عشان اكل اكله كويسه، يعني انا مش طالب اكل لحمه. دي مش لحمه دي فرخه. ولا طالب اكل كافيار ولا جمبري ولا سوشي ولا الحاجات اللي بنسمع عنها غير في التلفزيون، دي ما بنشوفهاش بس غير في التلفزيون. 450 جنيه ليه؟ وتقول لنا الحاجه اللي تغلى ما نشتروهاش. طب شاوروا لنا على سلعه رخيصه في البلد واحنا نروح نشتروها. تعملوا فينا اكتر من كده.
كنتوا ولا اخوان ولا حكومه. لو انت متعاقب الاخوان بزياده الاسعار والايام الزرقاء اللي احنا عايشينها دي، فاحنا مش معاهم. ولو انت عامل كده للناس اللي راكبه عربيات والكباري والدنيا والدين عشان تسهل لهم الحياه، فاحنا برضه مش قادرين نركب عربيات ولا قادرين نمشي على الطرق. نعمل ايه؟ الطبقه بتاعتنا، الفئه بتاعتنا تعمل ايه؟ بس كل اللي احنا عايزينه من حضرتك تطلع تقول لنا الناس دي اللي بتاخد 150 جنيه في اليوم يا دوبك تكفيها اكل فول وطعميه بس طول النهار. ازازه الزبده ب 65 جنيه، ازازه الزبده ب 65 جنيه، كيلو الفراخ النهارده ب 90 جنيه، كيلو السمك داخل على 60 جنيه. سمك ابو 15 جنيه 20 جنيه ب 60 جنيه. كيلو الفراخ اللي كان ب 35 جنيه و 40 جنيه النهارده ب 90 جنيه. كيلو اللحمه ب 250 جنيه. حكايه الحاجه اللي بتغلى ما تشتروهاش دي اركنها على جنب يا ريس. اركنها على جنب. عشان انت يعني في بعض الكلمات كده في كلام حضرتك ممكن ناس تصدقها وممكن ناس ما تصدقوش. يعني ما فيش حد بيقعد ثلاجته فاضيه 10 سنين، الشحات ما بيقعدش ثلاجته فاضيه 10 سنين. لو سمحت قول لنا نعمل عشان احنا فاض بينا. فاض بينا، عايزنا تسيبنا ونمشي، افتح لنا الحدود دي سوا ونمشي. انما الكلمه دي مش واضحه، تديني 150 وعايز مني 300، طب انا اجيب ال 150 منين؟ قول لي. اطلع كده حاجه كده صريحه وضيحه قول فيها، وبلاش الطريقه النحويه، يعني اتكلم كده ببساطه احمدي، اتكلم بالطريقه بتاعتنا. اعملوا 1 2 3. اللي بيشتغل شغلانه يشتغل حلها لي وانا تحت امرك والله هعمل اللي انت هتقول عليه. احنا ما نقدرش ما نعملش اللي انتوا بتقولوا عليه، احنا كده بنعمل اللي انتوا بتقولوا عليه غصب عن عينينا. بالسلاح بتخلونا نعمل غصب عن عينينا اللي انتوا عايزينه. احنا ناس غلابه، لا اسلحه ولا اخوان ولا حكومه ولا اي طيارات ولا اي حاجه خالص. احنا ناس عايزين نعيش، عايزين نربي العيال، عايزين نطلع جيل يعني بنفتخر بيه فيما بعد. انما الجيل ده ابو 150 جنيه ده 150 دي هتصرف على مين سعادتك؟ وشكرا معلش انا اسف على ازعاجك.
اقسم بالله يا ريس دي اخر 200 جنيه معايا في بيتي. دي اخر 200 جنيه. العيديه بتاعتك وصلت وتمام التمام. من 5 جنيه ونص ل 3 جنيه و80 قرش، يعني 170 قرش زياده. الناس واقفه بالجد والله. وموت وبتاع والدنيا كلها بتعلق عليك يا ريس. فين العسكري اللي هنا؟ عسكري؟ فين العسكري اللي هنا؟ اي حد يجي لنا في الحكومه سيادنا.
العسكري لا ده هو لقبه
لقبك العسكري. بقول للريس اهو اخر 200 جنيه في بيتي. يعني بالصلاه على النبي احنا معيدين عليك. الشعب كله بيمون والشعب كله بيعايد عليك يا ريس. واهو عشان ده لما يتربى يتيم هيبقى احسن. ده لما يتربى يتيم هيعيش وهياكل وهيشرب وهيلاقي ناس تعتب عليه برضه. الف شكر يا ريس، والعيديه بتاعتك وصلت وانت ريس تمام والله. وشعبك ده شعب طيب وشعب غلبان وهياكل على دماغه ودماغ امه وهيعيش. عشان انت مش جدع على الطلاق، انت ما جدع. انا بصرف على 5 تنفار في البيت، 3 بنات و2 صبيان صغيرين. يعني احنا اسرتنا 7 تنفار، انا شغال عليهم. كل يوم اروح ما ببقاش، يعني كنت بروح ب50 جنيه، دلوقتي الفلوس اللي انا كنت محوش 10,000 جنيه شغال بيهم، دلوقتي معيش منهم جنيه، بحطهم خساره. ودلوقتي احنا هناكل منين؟ احنا نسرق نبيع مخدرات؟ احنا واقفين في الشارع عشان ناكل عيش، نبيع مخدرات ولا نسرق ولا نعمل ايه؟ الناس دي بتعمل معانا ليه كده؟ الف شكر يا ريس، والعيديه بتاعتك وصلت وانت ريس تمام والله. وشعبك ده شعب طيب وشعب غلبان، وياكل على دماغه ودماغ امه ويعيش، عشان انت مش جدع، على الطريق انت ما جدع.
وتقول لنا الحاجه اللي تغلى ما نشتروهاش. طب شاوروا لنا على سلعه رخيصه في البلد واحنا نروح نشتروها. تعملوا فينا اكتر من كده، تعملوا فينا اكتر من كده. تاكل ده بقى.
لو سمحت قول لنا نعمل عشان احنا فاض بينا. فاض بينا، عايزه تسيبنا ونمشي؟ افتح لنا الحدود نسيبها ونمشي. انما الكلمه دي مش واضحه. تديني 150 وعايز مني 300، طب انا اجيب ال 150 منين؟ قول لي.
دلوقتي الفلوس اللي انا كنت محوش 10,000 جنيه شغال بيهم، دلوقتي معيش منهم جنيه، بحطهم خساره. بتعمل معانا ليه كده؟
يا رب انا بحبك.